At the recent UFC Kansas City post-fight press conference, Dana White hinted at a potential main event for UFC 317, but that's not all he talked about, because he officially confirmed Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev, which I am so elated to see that middleweight title fight finally come together. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled for some reason. But we still do not have a UFC 317 main event. I'm going to break down what I believe ultimately will be the main event, but really the potential options for UFC 317, which is International Fight Week, June 28th, because it is insane right now. It is almost the end of April. It is April 29th. UFC 317 is June 28th. So right now should be like the absolute latest the UFC is announcing UFC 317. So why don't we have a main event yet? I'm going to break it down in this video. We also have a slight Jon Jones update. Dana White was asked about him at the post-fight presser, but we also recently have kind of a coy post from Jon Jones as well, which we're going to look at in this video. The first thing I want to start with is I believe UFC 317, the fight announcement, should be coming soon within the next 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours. And I want to break down to you why I believe that. So here's UFC 300. The Fight Club pre-sale is live. Okay, you're probably wondering, Joey, why are you showing me this? Why are you showing me this? Okay, this was posted on February 21st, 2024. The Fight Club pre-sale is an early ticket sales for Fight Club members. You can sign up on the UFC's website. Basically, people who are hardcore fans who go to every event, they're part of the Fight Club pre-sale. Every single time tickets go on sale, they have a pre-sale for the Fight Club on Wednesday. Then they have like an early Thursday pre-sale. You can get like a promo code if you're on the UFC's email list. And then Friday, tickets go on sale to the public. Well, UFC 300 was on April 13th, and the Fight Club pre-sale was started on February 21st. So that is 52 days between when they went on sale and the official date of the event. There's a reason I'm getting to this. Then you have UFC 313. These are just the events that I could easily find. UFC 313, Fight Club pre-sale. You have you have January 22nd is when tickets went on sale, that Wednesday. That was 45 days. This one was cutting it really close. Was 45 days before the actual event, which went down on March 8th. We all know what happened there. Magomed Ankalaev went out and dominated Alex Pereira. And then the last example I'm going to give you is an event that hasn't happened yet. This is the Fight Club pre-sale for UFC 316. By the way, dog shit main event. Absolute dog shit main event. June 7th. This was announced on April 16th. That is 52 days before the event. The pre-sale has started. So the Wednesday where the tickets actually go on sale for the Fight Club members was 52 days. So you have 52 days, 45 days, and 52 days. This is when the tickets go on sale, not the actual announcement. Usually the announcement is a couple weeks before the tickets actually go on sale. Well, how many days are we away from UFC 317 and we still don't even have an on sale date? It is 60 days right now. 60 days. So all that is to say, tickets for UFC 317 should be going on sale this Wednesday, which would be in that 50-some day mark. It could go on sale next Wednesday, which would bring you about, that 52-day mark. So they could go on sale next Wednesday, but we still don't even have a main event yet. Usually they announce that a couple weeks before the tickets actually go on sale. So we should have had a main event for UFC 317 a week ago, 2 weeks ago even potentially. I mean, fighters like to have at least 8-week training camps, potentially 12-week training camps before the actual event, and we still don't even have the official announcement yet, and we're literally basically 8 weeks away from UFC 317. So what can we rule out so far? There's been a lot of talk. I just want to quickly rule this out. Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Now, we're going to talk about this a little bit more later in the video when we watch the Dana White clip, but there was a lot of talk of Du Plessis, Khamzat. Then it was Du Plessis injured. Then it became Du Plessis severely injured. I covered it very what's the word I'm looking for? I covered it very carefully. I pointed out the article from Kevin Iole where he mentioned that Dricus was injured, but then all of a sudden it kind of snowballed and went crazy and was like, oh man, he's seriously injured. He's got a broken leg. Kyle Baralho, this and that. Dricus settled those rumors. He said, okay, so everyone had their opinions, rumors, and stories about a shin break and injuries, etc. I found it all very interesting. Unfortunately, none of it is true. Myself and the UFC already discussed a fight date and opponent. The June fight was never signed. I did not pull out of any fight. I am the champion. I know when I fight you as a contender. Just show up when we tell you. Fight announcement coming soon. Stay tuned. So Dricus Du Plessis not injured. But first off, this post in general doesn't seem like he's going to fight at International Fight Week against Khamzat Chimaev. And spoiler alert, in the clip of Dana White that we're going to take a look at, he confirms that Dricus Du Plessis will fight Khamzat Chimaev, but it will not be at International Fight Week. So what else could it be? What else could it be? You look at the divisions right now, it's got to be a championship fight. You know, they're not going to put the fake-ass BMF title fight on the line because that's already happening at UFC 318, which is happening a couple weeks later, which is already announced. Pantoja is already rumored to be on the card fighting Kai Kara France. This isn't the main event. They're not doing Pantoja as the main event of International Fight Week. You have Merab. He's already fighting at UFC 316 the month before, or a couple weeks before. So that's not happening. Volkanovski just fought Lopez. He's not defending there. Islam Makhachev is available. Bilal's fighting at UFC 315. So unless he's down for a very quick turnaround, that's not happening. Dricus Du Plessis not happening. Magomed Ankalaev could potentially happen. He just fought in early March. There's a chance he could turn around and fight, June 28th. Wouldn't be the craziest turnaround ever. And then lastly, you have Jon Jones, because none of these women's champions are going to headline UFC 317. So basically what I just narrowed it down to is Jon Jones, Magomed Ankalaev, and Islam Makhachev. Now, there were some kind of leading posts from Ankalaev, and I wonder if the UFC put feelers out there, because Ankalaev has posted a few things toying, kind of taunting Pereira. You going to accept this rematch? You going to accept this rematch? Now, that could be anything, but it also could be the UFC's throwing out a bunch of different feelers for UFC 317 because they like to have multiple options. I don't think it's going to be Ankalaev, okay? I do not think it's going to be Ankalaev. Dana has already confirmed, which we'll hear here in a second, Dricus Du Plessis, Khamzat Chimaev is not happening at UFC 317. So essentially you have Islam Makhachev or Jon Jones. Jon Jones recently posted on Twitter. Initially, I would immediately just say it's not going to be Jon Jones. Immediately, I would say it's not happening. Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall is almost unlikely to happen, let alone to happen at International Fight Week. But I will say Jones just posted this on Twitter earlier tonight, or posted this on Instagram, I guess. He posted a picture of him holding a goat and said, bah, like bah, like a goat sounds. Could this be Jones teasing a potential International Fight Week main event? It's possible. It seems like from everything we've heard, Jones is kind of wants to fight in November. That's what it seems like from every kind of vague report that we've gotten. We don't know that for sure yet. Is the UFC and Dana White trying to negotiate behind the scenes? Listen, Jones, we want you versus Aspinall International Fight Week. This is going to be a mega event. Are they willing to pay Jones $20 million, $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall International Fight Week? It's possible, but I really don't think this is super likely either. I really don't. Maybe this is one of those posts from Jon Jones where he's just trolling the fan base. Maybe this is him saying, I'm retiring and I'm still the GOAT. We really don't know. There's not much you can make out of this, but I wanted to highlight it since he did post it. I was at a 1% that Jon Jones was fighting International Fight Week. Now I'm at about a 2%. This has piqued my interest a little bit. I wanted to include it in the video. So that leaves Islam Makhachev. Well, Dana White, when he was asked about UFC 317, he was specifically asked about Islam Makhachev. And that's what we're going to check out next. Listen to this. There's a whole 2-minute exchange here where they're talking about potential UFC 317 main event. They're talking about Islam Makhachev, who he's fighting next. They're talking about Khamzat and DDP, and they're talking about Jon Jones. We're going to listen to it all here. Listen to this.
We are still waiting for a main event for International Fight Week. And I'm sure you were willing and ready to break that for us now. Who is main eventing that?
Oh, I know this clip's going to get posted everywhere, so let me get my Power Slap cup. I need to get one of these Power Slap cups. This is Dana. He's like, man, I know this is going to get posted by everyone. Let me pick up my Power Slap cup. But let's listen to his answer. Sorry for interrupting. I know people are going to go nuts about that one.
That for us now. Who is main eventing that?
Well, I just announced some fights yesterday, and that wasn't one of them.
Yeah, there's a couple you didn't announce that people were kind of hyped for.
Look at this shit-eating grin. Got to advertise Power Slap real quick. But let's continue.
Some rumors. There was rumors that it was going to be Khamzat DDP. Turns out that doesn't look like it's true. There's now rumors it's going to be Ilia Topuria versus Islam. Is that a...
Well, we all know that fight's happening. The Du Plessis versus Khamzat fight. It's happening. It's just not happening in International Fight Week. That fight's done.
Okay. So there you go. Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev done, but it's not happening International Fight Week. So we can eliminate that. Dana could just lie, but why would he offer that up right then and there if he wasn't sure that it was? Like he would be playing a really elaborate game. And it's not happening International Fight Week just to only announce it happening at International Fight Week when he's already saying it's a done deal, when we're already 2 months away. It needs to be announced, you know, in the next couple days, essentially. So we know it's not that. So essentially it has to be Islam. And he's asked specifically about Islam Makhachev here.
Just not happening that.
And Ilia Islam?
What's that?
Ilia versus Islam?
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it plays out.
The other...
Look at that shit-eating grin. We'll see how it plays out. So that tells me there are two options. There was really three options for International Fight Week. All of them involved Islam Makhachev, unless you start to get real wonky, which I'll talk about that scenario in a second. But I already broke it down. I mean, nobody else in here, unless it somehow is Ankalaev Pereira 2, which I just don't think is going to happen. It has to be Islam. So who could Islam fight at International Fight Week? Obviously, he was specifically asked about Ilia Topuria, got a shit-eating grin looking on his face. We all know that's the biggest fight the UFC can make for the lightweight division. And he says, we'll see how this plays out. That means there are some type of negotiations going on behind the scenes. But what could be another option? It should be Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan, #1 contender, was originally scheduled to fight Islam in January, had to pull out with an injury. He's now on Dana's shit list. So the Arman fight isn't happening. I've been praying to the MMA gods that this fight would actually happen. That's the fight to make. But something came out today that told me this fight, there's no way this fight's happening. And I just clicked on the wrong thing. It's this right here. Arman Tsarukyan will take on, I'm not even going to try to butcher this guy's name, in a pit submission grappling match this Friday, May 2nd. Look, if he's doing this, I don't think he's jumping into training camp for an Islam Makhachev fight. Could you imagine he gets injured in this submission match a couple days after they announce a main event against Islam Makhachev? So there's no way that's happening. Plus, Dana has already said he needs to get to the back of the line, which is crazy. It just goes to show Dana wants these guys to fight injured no matter what. Don't ruin my cards, essentially. Now, there's a little bit more about Jon Jones here. We're going to listen to Dana White say, and then we're going to kind of talk about the Islam versus Ilia matchup as well.
The big one is obviously John versus Tom Aspinall. This week was a funny one. Someone reported that the fight's done. It's got a date. Then the next day, someone reported the fight's off. And then John...
What a horrible media member, by the way. This guy, Oscar Willis, he will sniff Conor McGregor's asshole even when Conor's out raping up a storm. But, man, somebody reported this and somebody reported... It's Chael Sonnen, okay? Chael Sonnen's a fucking bum. Everyone should ignore Chael Sonnen every time. So, I mean, there's people reporting this and people reporting that. No, it's Chael. Chael's worthless, okay? He's a con man.
John's not taking it. Where do we stand with that fight?
Everything you hear is bullshit until we say it.
So that fight is still the target for both men?
I've said it many times that that's the fight that we want to make this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, you said you were super confident. It's definitely going to happen. Are you still super confident?
Still super confident.
Cool.
So he's still super confident that Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall is happening. But the one thing I really want to highlight there is listen to this.
So that fight is still the target for both men?
I've said it many times that that's the fight that we want to make this year.
Okay.
I've said it many times. That's the fight we want to make this year. Grab my Power Slap cup because I know this clip's going to get posted everywhere. That doesn't sound reassuring that that fight even happens, but definitely doesn't happen in the near future, so you can eliminate Jon Jones even more. So it essentially has to be Islam Makhachev defending his lightweight title. Again, I already kind of said that. It's not going to be Arman, so you have a couple other options. You have Charles Oliveira. I think that's highly unlikely. It's possible. I think that's highly unlikely. You have Justin Gaethje. ew, has a real possibility, guys. It really does. And then lastly, you have the former featherweight champion Ilia Topuria. I really think it comes down to two potential options. It's Islam Makhachev versus Justin Gaethje or Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria. And Dana's asked about the Ilia Topuria fight and gives a shit-eating grin and says, oh, we'll see what happens. We'll see how this thing plays out. Listen, guys, I know this is pure speculation, and maybe I'm just a complete and utter pessimist. I don't think Islam Topuria is going to happen. Islam, the fans criticized him. Dana didn't even give him any credit when he beat pound for pound #1 featherweight Volkanovski. Pound for pound #1 in the world, the featherweight champion Volkanovski. Now you want Islam to fight Ilia Topuria, who has one title defense. And him and his team don't seem too keen on it. Now, I do think ultimately if Islam is offered the fight and they get decent terms, he will fight him. But you have to take into account Justin Gaethje is under the same management as Islam Makhachev. Justin Gaethje had earned a shot at the lightweight title, was supposed to get it, but instead risked it all in a BMF title fight, a dog shit BMF title fight against Max Holloway. He went out there against Max Holloway, got brutally eye gouged in the first round, and then got slept in the 5th round. And that's how he lost the shot. Now, he came back. He fought Rafael Fiziev on short notice recently. He beat Rafael Fiziev. He has a winning streak in the lightweight division. Both Gaethje and Islam are managed by Ali Abdelaziz. And I hate to break it to you guys, if you've been living under a rock, the UFC and Dana White have been giving out undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot. Now, I don't think Topuria is the most deserving lightweight contender. I think actually he should have to win a fight. But if it comes down to Ilia or Gaethje, you have to give it to Ilia Topuria. That's a massive fight. But I think at the end of the day, and again, maybe this is the pessimist in me, I think it's going to end up being Islam versus Gaethje. Why is it taking this long? That means they're trying. I think they're trying. If I had to guess right now, I think they're trying to negotiate Islam versus Topuria. Topuria is very smart. There was reports he was the highest paid fighter, non-champion fighter, before he fought for the belt against Volkanovski. He had fought out his deal. He's going to know what the Islam fight's worth. He says, I'm willing to sit out for the Islam fight. Islam's very smart as well and a very good negotiator as well. Has Ali on his team. Ali, maybe he plays checkers a little bit. He plays chess with his fighters a little bit. But they know what that fight is worth. But also they know that a lot of people won't give him any credit. Oh, you beat another 45er. Now, the real wild card you have here is in a couple weeks on May 10th, Bilal Muhammad is taking on Jack Della Maddalena. There's been reports Islam wants to move up. If Jack Della wins, Islam's going to want to jump up to welterweight for a welterweight title fight, and I don't blame him. He has earned it. He's defended his lightweight title multiple times. Now, people are going to say, oh, he ran from Topuria. Well, I guess Topuria ran from Movsar. Topuria ran from Jean Silva. But the real question about that is, that's a couple weeks away. Are they going to wait another almost 2 weeks to announce UFC 317? At that point, what we're going to be? We're going to be 6 weeks away, 5 weeks away from International Fight Week to announce the event itself. Not even tickets on sale yet. I guess they could announce it that Saturday and immediately put tickets on sale a little bit out of the normal date range they do. But that would be cutting it very, very close. But that's kind of the wild card there. But I do believe Islam is going to ultimately be the main event of UFC 317. And if I had to give my gut instinct right now, I'm praying and I'm hoping that it's Ilia Topuria, which I still think there's a decent chance it is that. I don't think it's completely eliminated. Dana White had that shit-eating grin, and that shit-eating grin tells me, let me rewind back. Let me find it. This shit-eating grin right here. He's drinking the Power Slap cup.
Damn, that wasn't one of them.
Yeah, there's a couple you didn't announce that people were kind of hyped for. There's some rumors. There was rumors that it was going to be Khamzat DDP. Turns out that doesn't look like it's true. There's now rumors it's going to be Ilia Topuria versus Islam. Is that a...
Well, we all know that fight's happening.
Sorry, boys, I rewinded it too much, but we'll just listen to it out.
The Du Plessis versus Khamzat fight. It's happening. It's just not happening in International Fight Week. That fight's done. Okay. Just not happening that.
And Ilia Islam?
What's that?
Ilia versus Islam?
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it plays out.
The other big one.
This is a shit-eating grin of a guy who's thinking of pay-per-view sales. Islam versus Topuria does big numbers compared to what the UFC is doing right now. So I'm holding out hope Islam versus Topuria International Fight Week. But knowing the UFC, Merab versus O'Malley too. Ew. Dricus Du Plessis versus Sean Strickland too. Ew. Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Not as bad, but still another undeserving title shot. If I just know the UFC somehow they just give us another dog shit, undeserved title shot main event, which I don't think Gaethje's completely undeserving. And also they're going to promote Gaethje. Oh, he has knockout power. Gaethje's one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC. I have a feeling it's going to be Islam Gaethje. I hope I'm wrong. It's Islam Gaethje or Islam Topuria. If it's anything other than that, I'm completely caught off guard. I will be completely caught off guard if it's anything other than Islam versus Gaethje or Islam versus Topuria. Could it be Charles? Okay, I wouldn't be completely caught off guard by that, but I think that's unlikely. Charles is saying, I'm sitting out demanding a title shot with one win over Charles Oliveira. The other option that would be another wild card, which would be insane. Imagine they give it to Paddy Pimblett. You know, Paddy deserves it more than Topuria. At least he has a win in the weight class. Charles Oliveira, in a way, deserves it more than Topuria because he has at least one win in the weight class. So that's possible. Islam Paddy would be huge. It would be huge. I actually kind of like that idea. You know, if we're giving out an undeserved title shot, if it's not Armin, everyone's an undeserved title shot. But I have a sinking feeling it's going to end up being Islam Gaethje and just another dog shit main event. Instead of blaming the UFC for not giving out the rightfully earned #1 contender title shot to Armin Tsarukyan, they're going to blame Islam. He's scared of Topuria, even though Topuria has one win, one title defense at featherweight. That's all he has. He doesn't even deserve the opportunity to move up, but people think Topuria has the best chance to beat Islam, so that's the fight they want. I like that fight too. I think that's the most compelling fight if you're not going to give Armin the fight. But we'll have to see how it all plays out. Hopefully we get a main event announcement in the next 24 hours. That's why I'm going to release this video now. It's very late, but I think there's a really good chance a main event could be announced tomorrow, which technically is already today because that would be April 29th. So, and then tickets could go on sale this Wednesday. And that would be right in line with kind of that date range I showed you in the beginning of the video. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.